Thanks for the introduction. Direct-to-consumer was a word that came up a couple of times during the panel you just listened to. I would like to talk to you about the following piece, online to offline, so how to really merge the two worlds. And to say one word just before that, you may have heard about the concept of omni-channel numerous times over the last 20 years. In its infancy, it was called multi-channel, and I think it failed. But online to offline is really technology-enabled merging of the two worlds. So therefore, I think this is where we at Zalando try to play a role, connecting the biggest fashion platform in Europe towards the offline stores. But before I tell you about concepts and big words, I would love to share a story with you. And the story is the story of John McFeeters from New York. And here on the right-hand side, you can see John, very proud to be the founder of Stadium Goods. Stadium Goods is a sneaker reseller, and you can tell from my footgear that I actually buy into that trend. These gentlemen actually buy shoes from consumers and they sell them to consumers. So they have one store in Soho, and we found that store on a business trip, and John was essentially meeting us in the store. We didn't know about him, didn't know about his business. But actually one store, we strolled the store, went to his warehouse. It's also impressive if you like the shoes. And at the end we asked him, John, great business, you're 8-month-old, how much do you do? And he said 40. And we were like, okay, 40 shoes a day, that's actually quite a lot. And he was like, no, 40 million a year. We said 8 months, 40 million a year, that's actually quite a good success story for retail. So we invited him to Berlin for Bread and Butter, which is our fair to connect consumers to brands or to retailers. He set up a stand. It was 6 months later, 14 months into the company, and same question, and his answer was 120. So actually was gearing up quite a bit. And then another 4 months later, he sent this picture to me, and here is him again on the right-hand side, standing on the stage of the Singles Day, the world's biggest retail event operated by Tmall in China. And John actually represented America. By now, he was doing 200 million a year, and he sold his company for more than 200 million to Farfetch by now. So that's a great story if you picture that he only has one store and 400 square meters where he offers his shoes and actually connected it to online. So if online to offline or offline to online, whatever way you take it, connectivity is obviously a tech-infused way to speed up the growth of retail, specifically of offline retail. Then essentially the whole story of Tmall is super impressive because the 25.3 billion US dollars they turned over on the one Singles Day in 2018, the picture is actually an outdated one, is largely enabled also by offline companies selling their product via Tmall. And what that means is, I mean, you're a guest in Berlin, and in Berlin, the 24/7 mom and pop stores are called Späti, and actually, Tmall actually puts them on steroids because what they do is not only connecting the assortment and the stock that the retailers have, connecting them to the platform, but they also give them the data to give better planability of their buying and decisions around marketing. So we think this is actually a very good formula. If you look at Germany specifically, this is a problem, same in overall Europe. Essentially, 1/3 of consumers being asked, what do you do more? Do you like to stay home and do the washing up? Or do you rather go to a store? 1/3 of consumers answers, no, I'd rather stay home, do the washing up. So that much about how omnichannel worked. Probably failed at least to some degree. So that's the reality in Europe, and we think the answer to it is platform it. So essentially platforming it for Zalando meant moving away from being a pure play online retailer, buying goods from brands and selling them at a higher price, but more becoming a hybrid business model of maintaining retail, but also selling via a direct-to-consumer marketplace model. This is Zalando that you heard already in the previous talk about. Zalando being this platform, which comes with challenges. So for example, we've got an availability problem. During one quarter every year, 8.6 million consumers sent us emails saying we wanted this product, but we didn't find it. So actually that triggers quite a lot of those moments. And the second thing is speed actually matters more and more with Amazon growing, but also with the consumer growing up. So therefore we researched and we found that same-day delivery actually increases your your NPS, your Net Promoter Score, by 17 points. So if you take the investment you need to take in order to increase the speed or the 17 points in NPS, that's actually quite a huge investment you can overcome by enabling same-day deliveries. So in order to do that, we connected Retail Baby, and that meant that we actually said we connect the world's best warehouse, and that's actually something that retailers don't like to hear, but essentially it is the best warehouse on earth because it is most distributed, it's closest to consumer. Alone in Europe, it's 200 to 300 million square meters of retail space. And as we heard before, the customer acquisition for this is also much cheaper than on online channels nowadays. So therefore, we think partnering with offline retail helps by, first of all, integrating the stock data, knowing what the store has, then connecting it towards our platform and routing our orders into the stores. So they ship from store, doing quite a substantial upside in terms of revenues. So that's by store nowadays, non-optimized 30,000 euros every month after returns for the top selling stores. But we also enable click and collect, bringing physical traffic to the store. We also enable all the things around endless aisle and return to store. So we think this model actually is the model of the future, as we see in China and as we see it already kicking off in Europe. So the final thing coming on top of this is tech and data. So essentially saying if you can give the advice, as we saw before on the mom and pop stores, what do you buy used store that doesn't know all the catchment area by heart, essentially this gives another edge towards retail, having much better accuracy in planning and in allocating marketing funds. So taking that together and shortening it a bit at the end, every business model that has 3 winners actually seems to be a very good one. So the consumer, as we talked, has more availability, speed, and choice via this model in an online world connected to offline. If you think about the store, the stock turnover of the stores increases substantially. And Zalando actually also has all the revenue and profit upside. So therefore, cutting it a bit short on the end, we connected 700 stores to our platform already, and we think this is also the future to move more towards 500,000 POS connected into our platform. Thank you very much for that.